there's always kind of like that delay, which is a little bit frustrating. Let me go ahead and tell everyone hello in the chat. Hello. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm author Elizabeth Ann West. I see that we're live now, but it's been a tough couple of 24 hours for me, as I got to say in Clipstrat a little bit ago, but there's also been some good things too. So let's talk about some of the good things. I'm overwhelmed. We have figured out how to, at least really good signs, use a fine tune to get ChatGPT 3.5 16K to write in the same style, a consistent style, matching an author's voice. When I say that we have managed to get a fine tune to do that, let me explain. Steph Pajonas did this fine tune. She's working on a write-up, and she's going to be talking about it tomorrow afternoon, I believe, inside of the Future Fiction Academy as well. She writes first-person present tense, which is always difficult to get the AI to do, right? First-person present tense, it doesn't do it very well. On top of that, it opened up the scene with a piece of dialogue. Again, not that strange. You know, we can do that. We can tell the LLM open up with dialogue. But it wrote a piece of dialogue with no attribution. What I mean is it basically just said, you know, Haley, how was your time with the hounds? And it closed quotes. There was no she said, she breathed, she yelled as she ran down the thing, and the sun was dappling over this. It just did a piece of dialogue, y'all. To the point that I went ahead and put together a little visual aid. It's not finalized yet, so I can't share it yet. But the way it is right now is we have pieces of AI writing and human writing right next to each other, and it just says human or AI, and I can't tell. I can't tell which one is human and which one is AI. Me. I can usually tell AI writing very, very clear, very quickly. So welcome. Good to see you guys in the chat. Hi, Cool Gamer. Hi, Stacy. Hi, Jude. Hi, Harper. Glad you guys could join me. For those who don't know, but the FFA members do know, my family did suffer an expected loss in the family last night. A battle with cancer was lost. I'm glad my Uncle Joe's not hurting anymore, but I'm just kind of bummy today. Like, before AI, this would definitely be a day that I would give myself permission to not have to write anything. As a result, this week's been a pretty tough week. We've had a lot of cool things in the FFA, which has been great, but it has used a lot of my energy. But then I had a lot of personal stuff going on too. So unfortunately, I did not do my homework. I did not get a chance to do like the scene briefs or the outline or anything like that, like I promised you on Monday. So unfortunately, we're going to be playing together a little bit differently today than what I expected. However, I'm also going to change stories. Does anyone remember the very first write-a-thon I did where I tried to write 50,000 words in a weekend with The Gentleman Is Mine, where Mr. Darcy or Elizabeth Bennet and Caroline Bingley are fighting with each other over Mr. Darcy? Anyone kind of remember a little bit? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and resurrect that story because I think now, because I tried using pseudo-write back then, and pseudo-write's completely different now. So this is not a slander against pseudo-write or anything like that. But back in September of last year, Story Engine, it was really difficult to kind of make it kind of stay on the rails and stuff like that. So we wrote 50,000 words, but it was a bit of a hot mess. So what I'm going to do is, oh gosh, it was June, July. It wasn't even September. Thanks, Stacy. So yeah, it was 6 months ago, which was a lifetime ago in AI. I'm going to resurrect those components and reuse them, which is actually going to be a good thing because it's going to show you guys how to set up your end slots, which is also a good thing because WordBanger is now unlimited. As of last night, the unlimited WordBanger went live into production in Rexy, which means there is no longer a restriction on how many prompts in a sequence you want to run. At Clubstrat, excuse me, Clubstrat this morning, we went ahead and set up a blackjack to run 26 prompts. I'll let you guys all think about that. 26 prompts. Now, Claude 2.0, we ain't going to talk about 2.1 because that's a thing. Claude 2.0 can write you 2,000 words consistently. If you prompt him 26 prompts, 26 times 2 is 52. There is your novel, at least a rough draft. So let's get into it. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. all the fun things. Boop. Okay. So you'll see that I have Rexy loaded up here. Rexy, this is where the word banger has changed. It's now almost like a whole interface, which is really cool. You can control the box skips right up here in the top right just by putting a sequence of numbers in there. The box skips allows the big bang box not to be brought into the main prompt so that your prompts no longer have to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger as you run them. This is really fantastic for open source models, such as a lot of the open router, not safe for work models. Also, if you're using smaller prompting like GPT-16K. So speaking of that, let's go ahead and let me think what I want to do here. I was kind of like digging into the archives. Now you'll see my Notion page here. I was digging into the archives and I was kind of taking a look at this outline here. The outline is not really in a format that I would do an outline anymore. So I was kind of validating this. We have multiple scenes. I think I wanted to just turn this into a straight scene list that goes sequential numbers and have the AI just rewrite that. So there's 5. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and grab all of this mess. It is a mess. And I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to come over to my word banger here. I'm doing this on the fly. Let me get into the right novel. So we'll go into the Jaff novella and we'll load that project just so it's writing into the same area. And this is going to be the gentleman is mine. So gentleman is mine. So this is GIM outline cleanup for my auto write first and foremost. We were playing with all the 26 bangs, so don't worry about that. I'm going to clear all that out. Boop. Because I'm using a different project anyway, so I don't have my Notion, my blackjack. And now what I'm going to go ahead and do is go ahead and start kind of planning these bangs here. And I'm going to say, read the outline below. Please write it again, only changing the format, changing the formatting. Remove all references to acts and write the scenes one by one in tags like this. Scene 1, and then close scene 1. Basically, I'm going to get the LLM to reformat my own writing here. I could do it myself, but I'm being lazy. Plus, it's just faster and I can talk. All the way for all scenes. Each scene. Okay, so yeah, that works. Also, remove any bullets. The scene information should be just paragraph format. That's because I'm going to use this information to make scene briefs. So read the outline below. Please write it again, only changing the formatting. Remove all references to acts and write the scenes one by one in tags like this. Scene 1, scene 2, all the way for all scenes. Also remove any bullets. The scene information should just be paragraph format. So now I need the outline, and in order to do that, I'm just going to throw it into my big bang box. So I'm going to put it right here. And as for which model I'm going to use, I think I'm going to go ahead and use Turbo, because my word count is 2,400. So Turbo can write 2,400 words. 4096, temperature is 0.7, top P is all good. We're all good there, so I'm just going to update. So I'm only going to do one bang. So since I'm going to do that, I'm going to not save the final completion. This is a new thing when you run a sequence in Word Banger. If you're running 3 or 4 bangs, once you're done with 4 bangs, it'll take all the responses of those 4 bangs and it'll save it as its own document. I don't need that because I'm only doing a one shot. I can see that there's already some messed up stuff here with these links. So I'm actually going to go ahead and take those out and just say scene 1. And I'm also going to take out scene 2. Okay. So we were doing all of that. We definitely don't want 26 bangs anymore. Let's go with just 1. We don't want 26 repeats. So I went ahead and cleaned that up. I have my prompt right here. Read the outline below. Please write it again. Actually, I'm going to change this prompt a little bit. I'm going to cut this out of the top box and put that in the bottom box. Now, the way that the word banger works is that this top box of instructions is above whatever in the big bang box. Then it'll have the big bang box, and then it'll have the bottom. If you're asking from a UI perspective, Elizabeth, why is that big bang box not in the middle there? Because it does that for each one of these instas or bangs. So you need to understand that if we had the middle box in the middle here, this would go on forever. And now you have unlimited bangs, so we put 26 and you can just close them up. You can also load them from a blackjack, which I'll probably do a little bit later. So right now I just have the story outline. All right, so not saving that. I've changed all the AI settings. I got to make sure that my Let's Bang here makes sense. And I'm just going to go ahead and click Let's Bang. And we'll watch it. Yeah, so it's doing scene 1, Jane falls ill. So it's already changing the formatting for me. Artificial intelligence is a fantastic scene. So I already see an issue where it's not putting scene 1 at the end. That's okay. I can just do that myself manually. As long as it can renumber them all, that's a huge time savings for me. It's also getting rid of all of those bullets. All right, let me go check the chat and see how everybody is doing. Hey, Steph. Yes, Jorge, this was the pre-order that I had to cancel. Hi, JK. Hi, F Kitty. Hello. I like the kitty in the box. I'm actually not a cat person. I'm a weird author. Cats don't like me. I had this thing happen when I was 4. I'm just passing the time while the LLM is running because we are on scene 8. When I was 4 years old, y'all remember, I was actually 3, I think, 3 years old in Norfolk. You know, screen doors where it would like close and then slam shut. Real big popular in the South, the storm doors. There was a kitten. The kitten's fine. The kitten was fine. The kitten was not injured. I just want to preface that story. That's part of the story. But the mama cat had just had kittens, and I was the last one out the door, and one of the kittens tried to get out, and the kitten, squealed. She squealed when she got hurt by the door. She wasn't hurt. She was fine. Mama cat went crazy, started like scratching me all up. My mom picked me up. Cat scratched my mom. We had to go in an ambulance. My mom's like preparing me for a tetanus shot. She was the one who had to get the tetanus shot, not me. But for the longest time, I had a scar going all the way down my knee from where a particularly deep gouge from the cat actually got me. And I think they have like a secret network. I never meant to hurt a cat. I would never hurt a cat. But it's like cats, since that day, cats don't like me. It's taking a little while here. Scene 11. Is anyone else? Let me go ahead and pop over here a second. Let's do this. Is anyone else finding OpenAI to be a little bit sluggish this morning? Like you're having issues with it? We were having a couple of issues earlier in Club Strat where like some of the requests and stuff just broke. One of the alternatives that I do. So one thing to know about OpenAI. We'll let this keep running, but let me go ahead and show you something. Let's go to OpenAI status. So they do have a website that says like what their status is, and they're saying no incidences. Today it's saying it's all fine. I beg to differ, but ChatGPT is fine. But this is the other thing that's kind of important too. When people ask me like, Elizabeth, why should I pay $20 a month for ChatGPT if I have the API? You don't have to, but it is a little bit of an insurance policy in some ways. Where if API, if it times out and it doesn't want to work for me, so I'm looking over here, like we're still stuck on scene 11. This is painfully slow. And I'm going to guess that it's not going to run all the way. So one of the things that I can do, because I do have ChatGPT, let me clear my jump cut from earlier. So clear all that. And I will grab the top of the prompt and the middle of the prompt, which is all this stuff, and the bottom of the prompt, because I want to get this show on the road. I can always run over to ChatGPT while Rexy is doing its thing and go ahead and ask it to do the same thing. So let me go ahead and put that prompt in. Read the outline below. Here's the story outline. Please write it again, only changing. Remove all that. So it's too close to each other here. So I'm going to put that a separate, and I'm going to add our dinkus and read the outline below. We'll put a space. So now I can use ChatGPT 4 right here. I'm not too big for the context window, and let it go. And we'll see if that runs a little bit faster. Because over here, we are stuck on, we've made it to scene 12. Go us. Let's see. This is almost like racing, right? Let's see which goes faster. Or is this just going to crash too? Nope. Wow, it's slower than molasses in January. Has anyone seen it be this slow? Okay, now it's picking up speed. Now it's a race. And this one got a head start. This is crazy. I did not plan for us to race the AIs today. Oh, we're at scene 3. Let's see what happens here. And then this one's actually doing a better job because it's actually putting in the closing tags. This one is languishing. Oh, I'm using Turbo over here. I bet everyone and their mother's using Turbo because we are back from break. I tell you what, while we were on break, I'm going to just stop this. I think that this is just broken. So we'll just stop that one. I'm not gonna worry about it because it's doing it right here. So we'll let it finish out over here. Let me check the chat. Hey, Kello. Okay, so the moral of the story for writing with AI is you got to be flexible. Like, you got to be flexible. If one's not working, hop over into the next one. This is why it's always important to learn multiple models. If OpenAI wasn't working, guess what I would do next? I'd go over to my buddy Claude. Like, I would just pop over into Claude Chat and change it to 2.0 because 2.1 we're not going to talk about. And this is where, practicing. This is why at the FFA we really encourage and we teach everything under the sun. We're not saying this is the best, only use this, because quite frankly, none of these systems are 100% reliable. This is new technology, and sometimes the cloud goes down. Trying to think of a corollary to that. What would be another system that we would know? Oh, I can remember times that, does anyone have a problem like I do of saving things to the last minute, particularly like college assignments? Anyone have that that affliction? I can remember the early days of Blackboard, and you'd go to submit your assignment, and it would never fail. Blackboard would be down. They'd be doing. I love that the professors would always make the assignment due by midnight, and the IT people, they would always plan like maintenance at midnight, or like at 11:30 or 11, and it would always just be a problem. Others may not have had that issue, but I can think of other times that you have to submit stuff online and it never fails at that. That's the one time that it's down. All right. Let me know in the chat, what kinds of projects are you guys working on with AI in your worlds? We are at scene 10 and a network error. Okay. Y'all, this is not looking good. This is not looking good at all. So let me go ahead and grab this prompt. Let's see if our buddy Claude is up. If not, we may just have to sit and chat and take a break. Because if nothing wants to run, there's nothing I can do about writing live with AI. All right, so we'll go to the chats. I need a new chat. I don't know how to use this now. I know how to use the API console, but I think it's just because it's, there we go. Okay. So I'll paste that in, start a new chat. Let's see if Claude is down as well. And let me know in the chat if your OpenAI is having problems. Because it's strange to me. I know this says green, but I have a feeling that this is going to be changing very soon. Because it's weird that ChatGPT ran. I'll try regenerate. But it's going to start over from the beginning. And they're just running sluggish. Let me check the chat here. Yeah, we're on Claude. However, I hear you. All right, Christina, so you're saying that chat 4 and Claude are all working for you, but they've been funny following instructions today. Yeah. Well, Open Router doesn't solve it, everyone. So Jorge, that's a good suggestion, but Open Router is going to access through the API as well. So basically, if the OpenAI API is not working for me, it's probably not working for Open Router either, unless they're having intermittent issues where the server I'm on is having problems, but not the server they're on, or if they've got multiple servers and things like that. That's always a possibility. Okay, so let's look here, the Claude. Oh, we started over with scene 1. That's not what I wanted at all. Okay, moral of the story, Elizabeth, fix your own stuff. I should have just fixed it. Usually it works really well that the AI just like fixes it. So we've learned that Claude can't count. But if it does finish all these things and I just have to change the names of the numbers of the scenes, then I'm okay with that. That's better than before. It doesn't look like it's fundamentally changing. It doesn't look like it's fundamentally changing the words that I want, that I put in there originally. Sends her a letter expressing concern about Mr. Darcy's involvement with the Bennett family. Mary, Jane, and Elizabeth share the concerns about Mr. Collins' letter to Lady Catherine de Bourgh. Tries to bring out the positive in the situation, reminding Elizabeth of the respect Darcy could earn. Interesting. Miss Bennett starts planning for the upcoming ball. This is a really bad outline. Like, I don't even like what I wrote 6 months ago for the story idea. I don't like any of this. But Mr. Collins was supposed to already be engaged to Mary, I thought. Or I guess they were just talking or whatever. I am confused. I'm going to have to read over this anyway. Well, this is disappointing. The good news is tomorrow is a new day. And tomorrow I am doing at least a 2-hour session, and I can probably extend it longer for writing. And I'll probably be in a better mood for writing as well. Mr. Darcy has many emotions: anger that Elizabeth would believe the worst about him, worry about Lady Catherine. Okay, so let me talk a little bit about the newest things in Rexy while this is running. The really cool things about Rexy that have changed, and I'm going to just check the chat to make sure no one's there. Harper says you haven't used any AIs yet today. Oh, okay, so I feel the same way. By instructions, I mean retaining tenses, told to retain tenses. I've also had Claude spit out 2,500 words twice, going off the rails. Yeah, I think today's just like there's gremlins in the system. Not the best if you're on deadline, but things happen. So coming back to Rexy, the new thing that you can do is you can now choose how many instas you want to run. Your Big Bang box skips. You can literally just put the numbers in here separated by a comma. Also, if you check the box here, it will automatically update the box up here. So this is helpful for when you have a long sequence. If you have skips in there, maybe from a previous sequence you were running or something, you can see that you're skipping stuff in the box. And it's like, oh, wait, no, I don't want to skip stuff. And you can just delete it, update it, and now your check marks will be clear. So now if I come down to Insta 1, you'll see that there's no check mark there. I found this a lot faster than having to go through each individual instance and check the box. Now I can just go 1, 2, 3, whatever number I needed to skip. It'll do that. So skipping the Big Bang box means it doesn't bring the Big Bang box into the prompt at all. And then the new one is the Big Bang reset. What that allows you to do is run sequences inside of sequences, where you have cleared the Big Bang box after individual runs. Every time you say that you want the Big Bang box to reset, it will automatically record whatever's in the Big Bang box to your Notion. So you don't have to worry that if you've clicked the reset button, you've lost it forever. We put a default in there where it will always capture what was in there before it deleted it. I thought that was an important kind of like kill switch prevention there. Let's see how Claude's doing. Claude's still going. I think it's in Act 3 now. There's 5 acts to the story, so I don't know. It's still going. This doesn't feel faster at all. I probably should have just cleaned it up. I probably could just race it and do it myself now. I guess we should go ahead and do that. Human only strategic plan. So yeah, I don't like this story at all. This later part, it doesn't even feel like me. have I changed that much in less than a year as a writer that I'm like, no, I don't like that plot anymore. That's funny. I'm not going to panic. Tomorrow may be a different day on how I feel about things. So another idea that we were playing around with, or I was talking about today, is I know I've done outlines from backwards in reverse, but I've never actually like given it a scene and said, write the scene before this. Oh, so that's the epilogue. So it's done. Okay, cool. We can now grab all of this. So it's finished with the outline. And I'm going to come over to my superstructure, this one right here. And we'll go into the week 1 Jaff Novella auto write. I'm going to create a new page, and I'm going to call this scene outline because I like my scene outlines. And I'm kind of playing with this backwards in the sense that I'm going to be using this document to extract my characters and like the character arcs and things like that, and the setting information. So that's what we will do. So this is scene 1, and I'm going to put the time of year that it is. So it is beginning of November, 1811, Netherfield Park. Just want to make sure you guys can see what I'm doing here. Okay, good. It is showing what I wanted to show. I get fast and then I can't. Scene 2, musical evening is held where Caroline hopes to impress Mr. Darcy, play a song on the piano. She manages. Okay, so I remember that. Taking an afternoon. What would be a good gag here? Elizabeth has many internal thoughts about Mr. Darcy being I'm trying to remember because the original Elizabeth confides in Jane regarding Caroline and Mr. Darcy. Hold on. Confides in Jane about her observations. I don't think this is the right outline because that's not what I actually wrote. When I was playing with this back before, so going back to the write-a-thon, let me go to this one. So that has some of the components there. I don't think that was the original scene that we wrote at all. Challenge is issued. Why would Colonel intervene? What? Lydia attempts to run with Mr. Wickham. Okay, I remember that part. Okay. I go Act 4, and we have the more scenes, confesses at some point. I think I'm just confusing how many different stories I've run all the time. Sorry, everyone. I'm not fully, I don't feel 100% mentally there. So is what it is. But the work must carry on, right? So we'll go to the auto write again, and I'll work on the scene outline. A music evening is held. Request to play a song. She's not as practiced. Yeah, because this is supposed to be, this first scene makes no sense. Okay. There we go. Believing that Caroline secretly wants Mr. Darcy. This is actually multiple scenes. I don't know. That's a mess. Because it doesn't make sense that she's going to talk about it and then she makes several attempts to monopolize Mr. Darcy's attention. It's almost like the stuff I remember writing was like scenes where she goes downstairs because she's taking care of her sister and Miss Bingley hasn't sent a tray up. Like, I don't know this story. It's not what I remember about the story, unless I'm confusing it, which is entirely possible. But you know what? Let's just fix it. Let's just fix it. And we'll start with the gist of it here. ChatGPT, I guess, got it kind of better, but not really. It did 14 scenes. I don't know that that's how many there are. 5, 3 is 8, and 6 is 14 right there. So yeah, I didn't do the full thing either. All right, let's do a new chat. Write for me a funny comedic outline that is a new variation of Pride and Prejudice where at Netherfield Park, while Jane Bennet is recuperating, Elizabeth Bennet overhears Caroline Bingley telling her sister that Mr. Darcy would never fall for the charms of Elizabeth. This eavesdropping makes Elizabeth angry, as Caroline has slighted her and Jane for the last 2 days while Jane was sick with a fever. Okay. This makes Elizabeth Bennet decide to pursue and show interest in Mr. Darcy. Pursue. As a folly against Miss Bingley's, oh, and I have to say to her sister, Mrs. Hurst. To her sister, Mrs. Hurst. Okay. Advances on Mr. Darcy. Scenes at Netherfield Park should be comedic and humorous as Caroline Bingley tries to get Mr. Darcy's attention, but Elizabeth actually gives attention to Mr. Darcy, who has fallen for Elizabeth. As Jane gets better and talks to Mr. Bingley, before the Bennet sisters leave Netherfield Park, Mr. Bingley asks for a courtship with Jane, and Mr. Darcy asks for a courtship with Elizabeth on a walk in the garden, on a double walk in the garden. Netherfield, not wanting to hurt her sister's chances with Mr. Bingley, and slightly shocked at how handsome Mr. Darcy is in the moment, right? Elizabeth Bennet accepts and immediately regrets that she let her small folly go too far. The story continues at Longbourn. with the arrival of Mr. Collins, but the story changes because now Elizabeth and Jane are spoken for. And so Mr. Collins instead is focused on Mary. Okay. Add in conflict here, more comedic situations. What else? You can use Lady Catherine de Bourgh and Mr. Wickham as sources of conflict. But the original storyline must change to where this story finishes with a double wedding of Jane and Mr. Bingley and Elizabeth. Oh my gosh, I can't type. Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy in the early spring of 1812. Okay. Write for me a comedic outline or a novel. Okay, let's see if that'll work. And let me go ahead and copy this prompt because I don't want to lose it just in case. So let's see what it does. Pride and Preposterousness, a comedic twist. We'll change the name of it. I'm probably going to do this, a promise she doesn't want to keep. No, it's The Gentleman Is Mine. So inciting incident. The fine eyes of a local farm animal. That does not make any sense. Mary's misadventure. Okay, so it's doing acts. Okay, this is actually a good idea. So if it has these acts, then I can actually change these acts and then say, hey, break these acts down into individual scenes. So that's fine. I don't hate the acts. I mean, that's what I originally did as a human when I was I am a human. That's what I originally did when I was planning this series out, this story out. So we'll grab all of this, and we'll start to play here. So this is a lot better. Okay. Happy from here. So we'll do a page, act outline. Gentleman Is Mine. All right, so Act 1, eavesdropping at Netherfield. While visiting ill Jane at Netherfield, Elizabeth overhears Caroline Bingley mocking her. Elizabeth begins a series of exaggerated and humorous attempts to catch Mr. Darcy's eye. I don't know that she'd be a deliberately playable pain. I'm going to change this. She's not exaggerated. Elizabeth remains her intelligent and witty self, but instead of reading books and ignoring the Netherfield Park inhabitants, she asks Mr. Darcy if he plays chess. And he agrees to a game. She shows interest when he speaks and takes every opportunity to subtly conveniently put Caroline, or to contrast Caroline Bingley's stupidity in conversations. Okay, so there we go. Caroline, oblivious to Elizabeth's actual intent, no. Frustrated by Elizabeth's presence, panics and escalates extended presence. There we go. At Netherfield. Panics and escalates her attempts to woo Mr. Darcy. Ridiculous scenes. Yes. Which she poorly recites. And Elizabeth is able to finish a line. Mr. Darcy doing the next one. Oh, that's hot. I like that. That's a scene I would do at dinner. Let's see what else we're going to do. Love poetry. Byron would have been really popular. When did Lord Byron publish his poetry? 1807. So yeah, appeared 1809. Let's see, famous Lord Byron poems. This is why I get sidetracked, right? She Walks in Beauty. That would be too late. So that would be a problem. You can't do She Walks in Beauty, which is really well known. And I thought that his like later poems were too late for 1811. So who would be a popular love poet? England, 1811. Percy Bysshe. Well, I thought that is okay. 1811, you would have been a teenager, so no, not you. 1788. So Byron, yep. I guess it is going to be Lord Byron that we would have to do. Why did he not do other poems earlier? We need more famous poems before. So The Courier. I always look this up, and I always get upset when I can't find it. All right, so that'll be a later thing. I'll probably just go back to Shakespeare. Shakespeare's great. Shakespeare sonnets, 1600s, can't go wrong. They would have known them. Let me check the chat here and see where we're at. Okay, no one's in chat, so good. I mean, not good. I'm sorry. This is not the writing session you guys thought it was going to be, but it's me working on it. I'm at least getting some stuff done. So reciting of love sonnets during dinner. So we'll do a sonnet. What is the Shakespeare love that seeks to alter? I think is not love at all. Yeah, let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Okay, I like that one. So we'll do sonnet 116. Let's do that. Which Caroline poorly recites. Let's go look at it. Mensa for kids. Let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. How would Caroline Bingley screw that up? Okay. Ooh. Okay, so we'll just have it finished or whatever. I'll figure that out when I get to that scene. But I have the notes here, so I'll remember. Okay, courtship and chaos. As Jane recovers, Mr. Bingley and Mr. Darcy. Okay, as Jane recovers, the Bennet girls accept an invitation from Mr. Bingley to remain the rest of the week instead of hurrying home to Longbourn. It rains for 3 days. The party at Netherfield find many diversions and times to spend together, including meals and playing card games. On the last day, that Elizabeth and Jane stay, on the morning they plan to depart. That's what it is. On the morning, the Bennett girls prepare to return home. The gentlemen invite the ladies for a walk after breakfast. Okay. Mr. Bingley and Mr. Darcy, both smitten, propose a courtship during a double walk in the gardens. Elizabeth caught off guard by her own feelings, and Mr. Darcy sincerely agrees. Elizabeth and Jane spoken for. Mr. Collins turns his awkward affections towards Mary. I don't know. I need more scenes in there too. I'm gonna have to add in here that I'm gonna put the Darcy Darcy and Elizabeth communication. At times, Mr. Darcy is still awkward and rude when he speaks, or Elizabeth willfully misunderstands his statements. As Jane becomes stronger, Elizabeth confides, or no, Jane asks Elizabeth about Mr. Darcy's attentions to her. Jane asks Elizabeth about Mr. Darcy's attentions to her, towards her, and if she believes him to be different, and Elizabeth shakes her head. Elizabeth almost confides in Jane what she is doing, playing a game to thwart Caroline. Mocking her. Angry for a moment, Elizabeth converts her rage to Elizabeth devises a plan for her own amusement. She will best Caroline in a game of courtship to win Mr. Darcy's affections, only to thwart the other woman. Yeah, because she doesn't care about Mr. Darcy. Mr. Darcy was a jerk. So she's like, whatever, jerks deserve what jerks get. She's not going to feel angry about that. Okay. Of playing a game to thwart Caroline, but fears her sister will disapprove, and Elizabeth believes they will leave soon anyway. They will leave soon, and she can avoid Mr. Darcy later. So there we go. Jane, as Jane recovers, the Bennett girls accept an invitation to remain one more day. Unfortunately, it rains for 3 days. That's in the original outline by the thing. Keeping the Bennett girls stuck at Netherfield. Elizabeth is in a panic because including meals and playing card games. Now, Mr. Darcy's full attention is on Elizabeth, and she can do nothing in polite company to dissuade him. His interest, I think it's dissuade. Since she was the one who cultivated it. On the morning of the girls prepare. So yeah, that's going to be perfect. This is going to be like when they get home. So let me just grab this first part and see if it can just write a whole scene list for just that part. So I'm going to come over to Rexy. Hopefully it's doing better. I'm going to use GPT-4 for this just because I want it to be smarter. I might even use Claude, but we'll clear all that out. And I'll paste this in. So Act 1 and Act 2. Please read the information, the novel information below. There it is. I need a detailed scene list for the first 2 acts. Please label each scene. Scene 1. Oopsies, I need brackets. Scene 1. Let me see here. And scene 1. Etc. And include as much information as possible such as setting, characters, motivations, and plot events. Please include scenes that are not specifically mentioned above, but would connect the story from scene to scene. For example, there should be a scene in Act 1 and in Act 2 where Darcy and Mr. Bingley talk about their intentions towards the Bennett girls, the Bennett sisters, perhaps playing billiards, or out on a ride in Act 1 while the weather is nicer. You can invent scenes that serve the story plot, but make sure they are period appropriate to 1811. Your final scene count should be more than 10. There we go. Just plain Jane instructing it what I want it to do. Please read the information. GPT 4.7. That's fine. I think we're okay. So we have 1, and we'll go ahead and click Let's Bang. So there's scene 1, and it's doing the sick room, and it's doing the characters, and it's doing the plot. Angry and determined. Okay, so it's doing the dining room. Further infuriating, the gardens. Oh, perfect. So it's did that. It's done that. They have miscommunications. The sick room. Jane's feeling better, inquires. Elizabeth doesn't reveal her plans, but does deny seeing any change in Mr. Darcy. The rain traps the Bennett sisters for 3 more days. The dining room. Okay, so I think we got some good stuff here. So it just put it all into the big bang box here. Scene 1 is up here, maybe. Scene, I lose it. Yeah, scene 1. It just put it all together right there. The gardens at Netherfield. The gardens at Netherfield. They can't. It's raining here, so I just have to change that. Okay. So 10 scenes times 20 or times 2,000 per scene would be 15,000 to 2,000, 15,000 to 20,000 words just for Act 1 and Act 2. And I can go ahead and get this kind of like, I think I'm going to do where I will work on this tomorrow and get Act 1 and Act 2 really solid. And I'm happy with those scenes. And then I can work on figuring out the rest of the story. So that should already have written to the auto write, which it did down here. And I'm going to put just, this is the outline for scene 1 and 2, for Act 1 and Act 2. It's very similar to my story, To Capture Mr. Darcy, where they play chess. So maybe instead of chess, I'll research tonight in my book and see what other games that they could have done, something for intelligence along that time frame or something. Something that they would do. But chess is certainly easy. It was also really popular to play backgammon. So I'm feeling a lot better about the story now. And sorry for all the kind of meandering at the beginning parts, but you can see how quickly you can kind of just prompt it to continue and work with what you're working with. Let me go back to StreamYard and let me just do me. Okay, so that is the end of the hour for today. I know I do a lot of story planning. I'm hoping tomorrow that, number one, I'll get better sleep tonight, but I'm hoping tomorrow that we'll go ahead and take our 2-hour session. I'm tomorrow live at noon again. So same time, same bat channel. I think we're going to probably be running closer to that 2 to 3 hour session that you guys are used to seeing me doing because I never stop when I'm live. But I'm feeling a lot better about the story. I might tweak it a little bit so it's not quite the same as my other stories. Maybe I don't need that chess game. Maybe Elizabeth just plays the piano or something like that. I don't know. Maybe Mr. Darcy mentions to Caroline Bingley that he enjoys a certain piece of music because his sister plays it, and Elizabeth is deciding that she tells him I don't play very well, but I can do my best, and then she goes ahead and plays that piece by Beethoven or something. That's a good idea. That way my readers aren't like, well, you already did the chess game. You can't do the chess game all the time. Like, I know. I like chess though. So that's not true. I don't like chess. I can play chess, not very well. So this game here, I'm going to change it. I know you guys can't see, so let me share that screen too. I'm just putting a note here change this about music. And Caroline doesn't know a piece of Beethoven that Mr. Darcy likes. And Elizabeth says that while she may not play it so well as his sister, she does know the piece and plays the piano. Okay. So there we go. And then I can have him approach the piano and he can be like, why did you learn it? And she can say something like, you won't. Oh yeah, that's really funny dialogue. Mr. Darcy, why do you know this piece? At the end, Elizabeth can confess it was a gift of her uncle's, and her sister Mary needed help with the fingering. It also spared her from visiting taking a visit with her mother. Yeah, there we go. So that way it signals to Mr. Darcy she's not very keen. She's not very like keen on her mother. So that way he's like, because he doesn't like Mrs. Bennet. So that way he'll be like, okay, well this could work. It's starting to think those character motivations and things like that. So, all right, everyone, thank you so much for being with me for this hour. I'm sorry it was a little bit of a struggle, more struggle than usual. This is definitely a new schedule where we're teaching all the time. We're going live every day each week. It's been a very busy week for me, and then I just had some setbacks. But I'll be tomorrow. I'll be a little bit more my old self, and I'm excited for tomorrow and see what I've got planned. So if you want to see what I have planned or what I have to cook up my sleeves, join me tomorrow at noon. And if you haven't already liked and subscribed, we would love that. It helps our YouTube channel. Plus, it'll alert you every time that I am live. So if there's any last questions in the chat, I don't think so. Then I wish you guys all a wonderful afternoon, and I hope you get all of your writing goals and everything finished this first week of 2024. I know we are all using this new year as a new start. So good luck to all of you. I'll see the FFA members in lab. If you haven't joined FFA, we do have openings. All the links are in the description, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.